the iPhone Fold or the iPhone Ultra. Honestly, I think it's going to be called the iPhone Ultra. I'm kind of tired of hearing about rumors about it. At this point, I just want Apple to officially announce it so I can know some concrete details. By the way, what's up? My name is David DeFranco, and welcome back to another video where I just sit down and talk to you guys about things that I love in life. And Apple is one of them. Apple is definitely my favorite tech brand out there. They just do a lot of things that I stand for, and that's putting out premium features and actually waiting until they're ready to enter the market. And man, like the iPhone Fold / Ultra is proof of that. Like Apple could have easily put out a foldable iPhone like 5 years ago, but much like the Apple Watch, much like the iPad and whatever else, they like to wait, especially the Vision Pro. But the Vision Pro is not a fine example because it wasn't a huge success, but it is a very high quality premium device that does things extremely well. And I have no doubt in saying that the iPhone Fold, let's just call it Fold for today's video, will impress us. Like I really genuinely do believe that the iPhone Fold is going to be an exceptionally quality and premium type of device. Because Apple is quite literally just, they're taking their freaking time. They're taking forever, but I think they're gonna do really well. However, with that said, I'm going to talk to you guys today about why I'm not really all that interested in buying the iPhone Fold. I'm very curious about it. I'm very excited to see what Apple does, but speaking from my own personal perspective, I'm not going to be buying one. Like a 99% chance that I will not be buying one. And yeah, I realize I've said that before, and I'll talk about that in a bit. Anyway, before we get into why I will not be buying the iPhone Fold, today's sponsor. Just kidding, I don't have a sponsor. Little old me. Let's just jump into the video. Okay, so jumping into some rumors. First of all, we are supposedly getting a book style form factor, which I personally like. So think like a passport, which I think is the right move. I'm really glad Apple's going this route because in theory, it's going to make it easier to hold. And it's better for multitasking because you can have one app on the left, one app on the right, and it's great for that. Number 2, minimal crease. Guys, I gotta be honest, I don't like the fact that we're already using the word minimal in regards to Apple's take on hiding the crease. Minimal does in fact mean that there's going to be some kind of crease there. And I get it, David, physics. You cannot defy physics. Trust me, I understand that. Like the physics of cat hair going into my eye while I wanna make a video. But the thing is, if there's any sign of a crease on a foldable phone, I immediately lose my interest. Whether it's Apple, Samsung, whoever, the second my finger touches that annoying crease when I go from the left side of the phone to the right, consider my interest out the window. I'm that picky. Even the idea of having a crease, it's gross. It's gross. And speaking of gross, the rumor is we're not going to have Face ID support, at least on the first generation iPhone Fold. This is a deal breaker for someone who absolutely loves Face ID. I use it every single day on my iPhone. Honestly, look, I unlock my phone without even thinking. It just opens. I don't want to have to put my finger on the back for, Touch ID. And I get it, Touch ID is fine. Guys, I use it every single day on my MacBook Pro. Every single day. And it's great for that. But with that said, I would like my MacBook Pro to have, Face ID. It would be nice. But the thing is, this is open for literally hours every single day. But when you're trying to quickly access your phone, Face ID, you can't beat it. It's perfect in the dark. It's great for outside when you're shoveling snow or your fingers are wet from the rain or doing dishes. With Touch ID, sorry, it's not as simple. Touch ID is fine for most people, but I will never understand the argument of why people claim Touch ID is better than Face ID. Sorry, it's just not. Face ID is far superior. Always has been, always will be. And it's more secure. Rear cameras. So the rumor is we are expected to get a dual camera system, meaning we're gonna get 48 megapixel lenses for wide and ultra wide, but not a telephoto lens. And I gotta be honest, that's enough. Honestly, I don't really use a telephoto lens on I didn't use the telephoto lens on my previous iPhones. And I'm currently using an iPhone Air. Sometimes it is nice to have, but it's not a deal breaker at all. Like having 2 lenses on the rear is plenty for me. So this isn't a selling feature, this isn't a deal breaker. And yes, by the way, my voice isn't the best. I was yelling quite a lot last night on my Twitch. Twitch.tv/DavidFranco. Check me out right below, I appreciate it. So cameras, yeah, important, but not a deal breaker either way. Internal components, we are rumored to have something like an A20 Pro, which is cool. Faster, better performance, I'm never gonna argue against that. And 12 gigabytes of RAM, which should be plenty for something like Apple Intelligence. I've never understood the obsession with RAM in an iPhone, I mean, especially an iPhone, because Apple does a fantastic job at optimizing the software with the hardware and vice versa. There's a squirrel outside my front door. Godspeed, little buddy. And finally, battery life. This is incredibly important because not only are you running, theoretically, a front display while the phone is closed, but the second you open it, you've got a nice larger display. Now, whether that's gonna be OLED or not, I'm sure it will be. I mean, it should be, right? It is critically important that battery life is great. And obviously with a larger phone, that gives you physically more space to put in bigger, larger, better performing batteries. So battery life is not a concern for me at all in regards to the iPhone Fold. It should get all day battery life. I don't see why not. And now with all that said, let's get to the main topic of this video. 3 reasons why I will not be buying the iPhone Fold. At least I shouldn't be. And I say that because I'm kind of famous on this channel for saying I'm not gonna be buying something because I wasn't interested in the iWatch at launch or before launch. Check this out. Unless Apple can do something revolutionary and sell it at an awesome price and make it something brand new and reinvent the watch market, then maybe there's a small, like very, very, very tiny chance that I will actually take an interest. But as of right now, it's one of those rare Apple products that just does nothing for me. Younger David. I don't know why I framed the camera so freaking close to my giant white ass head, but it is what it is. We don't have to look back into the past too much. But that is a fine example of myself saying I'm not gonna do something, and then I do it. So yes, in other words, take everything I say with a grain of salt in this video. But there's a really, really good chance I will not be buying the iPhone Fold. Starting with the biggest reason, the price. The price. Man, let's talk about the rumored price. So as of today, rumors are saying that the iPhone Fold, get this, is starting at starting price between $1,800 and $2,000. I'm not made of money. I'm not. I wish I was. I'm not made of money. This is a lot of money. This is a lot of money, especially for a starting price. Keyword, starting. And it's rumored that the top tier model is gonna cost between like $2,900 and $3,000. And keep in mind, that's without AppleCare. That's without AppleCare, and without a good case, and without an iCloud storage upgrade. So this is gonna be a premium device with a premium price. And it's not meant for everybody. I'm an Apple enthusiast. Like, I will no problem drop over $2,000 for something like this, a MacBook Pro, because I prefer to spend money on things that are going to make me money. Man, I've made my money back times whatever with this freaking thing. This computer quite literally runs my life. So if I had to drop between $2,000 and $3,000 on a new MacBook Pro every like 5 to 8 years, I say that because I'm still patiently waiting for the rumored OLED MacBook Pro, then I'll gladly do so because I know I'm gonna make my money back. But with something like an iPhone Fold, I'm sorry, I just can't justify the price. At the end of the day, it still is a phone. And guys, this does exactly everything I need it to do. Just perfectly fine on a daily basis. Number 2, and that kind of brings me back to what I just said, the idea of a foldable phone, honestly, is just not that enticing to me. Guys, the simple rectangular form factor of an iPhone or a Samsung device or whatever, I mean, this is fine. It does what I need it to do. And for a larger device, I've got things like my iPad Pro, which I rarely use as it is, but for an even larger device, I'm always going to prefer an actual computer, like my MacBook Pro, to get real work done. I just realistically cannot see a use case scenario day to day to day where I have an iPhone and I'm opening it up like a passport and while just using apps side by side. Yes, it would be really nice to have my email on the left and Safari on the right. I do that all the time on my MacBook Pro. So yeah, I get it. To have that kind of functionality in my pocket would be really nice. But how often would I need to do that when I'm away from my MacBook Pro? Especially as someone who works from home. Like, this is always in front of me when I'm at home. Like, this thing, I'll say it again, my MacBook Pro, it runs my life. So I simply cannot, for the life of me and for my Apple fanboy ways, I just cannot think of a way that an iPhone Fold is going to change my daily routine. This works just fine. And even with that said, no matter what, I'm getting the iPhone 18 Pro Max. I don't know, the iPhone Fold, the whole foldable thing, whether it's Apple, Samsung, whatever, the idea of it is cool, and I'm very interested to see what Apple does. But realistically speaking, I can't see myself using it as a foldable phone every single day. Shout out to my dad. I love him, but sometimes I'd call him out because he had a Galaxy Z Fold or whatever it was called, one of many foldable phones that Samsung has put out already. I say that because Apple's clearly late to the game, but I really hope they do things right. Anyway, my dad would always be using his foldable phone when it's shut still, and he would just use the very narrow front display. And while I'd kind of call him out, but like, Dad, is there a reason you always use the front display? He's like, I can just do everything I need to do on the front display. I just rarely open it up. And honestly, I consider myself a very productive, prosumer, heavy kind of person, but I don't see myself getting work done on my iPhone. I don't need to. So yeah, the idea of a foldable phone, it's interesting in concept, but actually using it day to day, I don't see the big deal. I simply don't. And finally, number 3, this takes me back to the beginning of this video. Even just the idea of a minimal crease to me is a massive, massive turnoff. I'm very picky about a lot of things in life, so I can't even imagine my self-proclaimed OCD actually putting up with the idea of even the tiniest crease on a foldable phone. Seriously, it's that big of a turnoff for me. I just won't allow it. It's disgusting just thinking about, even if it does come from Apple. And I love Apple. I'm an Apple fanboy. I will proudly defend them whenever I can. But if there's even a slight hint of a crease that I can physically feel between the left and the right side of the iPhone Fold, you immediately lose my interest. And those are my thoughts on the iPhone Fold and why I will not be buying one. Watch me eat my words and buy one anyway. Who knows? Because you know what? Everything I said today is just theoretical. Nothing is factual. But the good news is we will know details in just a month. And I'm very, very excited. Despite my criticism of the idea of a foldable iPhone, I'm very interested, very excited, very curious to see what Apple does. Because I do love Apple. I'm very excited to see what they do from a software perspective and hardware. Let's not forget that crease, slightest hint. Yeah, you guys get it. You guys get it. It's that big of a turnoff for me. But then again, I'm very picky. Not everyone's as picky as me. So maybe I do have OCD. I mean, I was never officially diagnosed, so who knows? But I'll tell you this, I have a lot of pride. I have so much pride in owning and using quality products that work exactly as intended. Thank you guys so much for watching. What are your thoughts on the iPhone Fold? Let me know. And please, I want to keep doing these talking head style videos. I just love sitting down and talking to you guys. It's legitimately a lot of fun for me. I'll talk to you guys soon.